So welcome to Screen Time with today's Communiqué. So honored, indeed honored, to have Mr. Patrick Oliver and friends joining us today to talk about the latest guidebook for youth, vision board guidebook for youth, which is celebrating its fifth anniversary. But before we jump into the details and talk about the guidebook for youth and the vision board book for youth, we want to talk about the Say It Loud Readers and Writers program that Mr. Oliver started some almost 25 years ago. So let's learn about Mr. Patrick Oliver. For those of you who may not know him, Mr. Oliver, tell us a little bit about yourself and the reasoning behind creating the Say It Loud Readers and Writers group.
Hey, first of all, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your project, today's canoe, because it is so important, in terms of getting the word out about what's happening in our community. Uh, we, we were talking earlier about the importance of being informed, and that is what you're doing with your project, and I really appreciate being a part of it. And you allow me this opportunity to share about Say It Loud and what we've done, I'm sorry, over the past 24 years. It is a prelude to our 25th anniversary celebration, which is, I'm excited about it because we're going to do it in Little Rock. It's going to be big, it's going to be huge. We can talk about that later, but yeah, 24 years of really saying to the community, saying to young people, literacy, reading and writing, analyzing data, analyzing information, conversating, that is your future. I mean, it is now. It is not tomorrow. It is now. We have to be highly literate, highly functional to compete in today's society. And I don't mean the way that young people have to go to school and compete, but just compete in terms of there are opportunities out there, and you're gonna have to compete for them. And so you have to have a certain level of literacy to do that. And so, say it loud, we said, hey, how can we help young people? How do we start out helping young people enjoy and understand the importance of reading and writing? And we kind of backdoored it and did it through poetry, creative writing. Because through poetry and creative writing, as you well know, you still have to come up with ideas. You still have to have kind of analytical to some degree, because whatever you're writing about, in most cases, is yourself or social issues. So to some degree, you are engaging in analytical skills. So through creative writing, that's what we decided to do, is to engage young people in creative writing, but at the same time, letting them know that they have a voice, that your words mean something. And as you well know, everybody in today's society, you have to be able to tell the world your story. Who am I? What is it I want to do? And not just write it down, but verbalize it as well. So we use, the creative writing piece and then the poetry, the spoken word aspect of it. And as you well know, to be successful in society today, you have to have some sort of oratorical skills, be fluent in how you share your perspective. And so those are the two things we really wanted young people to understand, and their parents as well, and the entire community. So we said, hey, we're going to host a series of activities in the community, book discussions, readings, host author events, have events at libraries, cultural centers. So there will be a diverse way of learning about the power of language arts.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that because, let's face it, kids are really going through a lot of things these days. They're experiencing some things that we did not experience when we were young people growing up. They're seeing things that they should not be seeing at all, even as adults. And so having the capability to get it out through creative writing, I think is such a powerful tool for young people to have. And so thank you, thank you, thank you on behalf of all the young people out there and their parents for creating the group, for giving young people the tools and the vehicle to get out what they have inside. And so let's talk about On My Own, the vision board guidebook for young people. Talk to us a little bit about the whole vision board process and why you decided to create a vision board guidebook for young people.
You know, these past couple of years have been extremely tough, for all of us. So imagine we as adults, we're mature, we're able to somewhat decipher what is happening in society today, and try to make sense of it. It's difficult, even for adults. It's difficult to understand why you have had a president of the United States who allowed almost 3 to 4, or close to 500 people to die. And to try to understand and decipher that as adults. Can you imagine young people trying to understand that? And then having to go to school, they're hearing mixed messages about whether they should go to school, whether they be infected, blah blah blah. I mean, that was confusing. And so, in 5 years ago, I created the first vision board guidebook just to say to young people, hey, all I could do the creative writing workshop with young people, I saw uh, young people not really knowing what they wanted to do. So it's like, hey, let me just my next exercise activity with young people is going to be about planning for my future, writing it down, claiming it, dreaming it, you know, make it come into fruition. So I was doing writing activities, based on that, and the response that I was getting was really good. Because in a lot of cases, a lot of young people found out how good they were at art. Because the vision board, as you well know, is a collage of ideas, pictures, images, and I got to give a shout out to the young sisters who participated in the vision board activity. They always had the best vision boards. They all was creative. Like brother, y'all got to step up y'all game because just cut out a watch and a magazine and a pair of sneakers. That is not, that's all you want for the future. But the young sister was laying it out. I mean, just beautiful images of houses and places they were going on beaches and just great images. And it was so great to see that. So I started this artistic side of our children. They were using both sides of their brain. They were using the words they were cutting out about being beautiful and that sort of thing. So, and some of the boys, did come around. I give them credit. They were using words that they heard in a lot of rap songs by male artists. About being boss, about being king. That sort of thing. I'm gonna run it. That sort. So that was nice to see that. But I made them interpret it. What do you mean? To run what? So they shared that. So as continue to do the workshops, more and more young people just feeling what they wanted to do, how they wanted to do it. And then the pandemic hit. And being a young person to be in the middle of this, being 10, 11, 12 years old, I mean, again, we were traumatized as adults. I know I was, because, all of my projects I was working on got slammed. Schools closed, everything, stay inside, don't go out, wear a mask out. I mean, that was a lot. So, and I realized that I had put the other vision board book out 5 years ago. I said, hey, I have to do a 5-year anniversary for the vision board guidebook with the primary focus saying to young people, we got you. We got your back. And here's how we got your back. I'm going to call the friends who were in the book, the vision board book 5 years ago. I'm going to ask them, can I reprint their stories? And then I'm going to bring on some new friends, some visionaries, people who I know are innovators, who are very skilled at what they do. Bring on some new folks to say to you, hey, we got your back. What is it you want to do? Whatever profession you want to get into, here's some recommendations. Here's how you network. So I got different individuals from various professions to come in and give me just I asked someone for 250 words. And some went beyond the 250 words, but to say something very powerful. And I love what all the contributors did because they contributed to what Say It Loud is about. Say it short and powerful and meaningful. Because that's what we need to do with our children nowadays. Because their distractions of television and other things kind of keep their attention away when there's a lot of text. So I asked all the contributors, hey, just short, just say it to me. Just say it for young people. And the responses I got from these brilliant minds, innovators, people who work with young people all the time, or who won't have a message for young people, they did it and did it beautifully. And so that's what we have on my own, the vision board guidebook for young people. Well, we hear Joe Biden talking about billions and billions of dollars going toward innovation and technology infrastructure. What does that mean to young people? Who do we have in our community that can talk to them about robotics and like I said, and growing your own food and being a part of this advanced future that we're not talking about enough in our community. But the one way to be involved with it is have a vision, to have a plan for the future. So, hey, here's your book, young person. Here's your workbook let's get busy. First of all, the first part of creating a vision for the future or creating a vision board, the first thing is who are you? Who am I? Who your folks? Who your people? Let's find out who they are. Because like Charles Barkley said once, that a lot of people attack him for, and sometimes I do as well. But he's like, I'm not your role model. Okay, you're my role model. Fine. There's somebody in my family that may be a role model, and we don't encourage young people enough to look within our families. We got doctors, lawyers, you know, plumbers, mechanics, all these different professions within our own family. You don't have to go to a university to look for a mentor. You don't have to go to some organization for a mentor. Look right in your family, your cousin who may be three cousins away from you, but they still may be somebody you need to know. So in the Vision Board Guidebook, there's a genealogy tree there so you can find out who your folks are, but most certainly is it's about self-definition. That's the beginning of the process of planning for the future, having a vision for the future. Who am I? Whose child am I? Who are my cousins? What beautiful surroundings did I come from? And so that's the first part of the vision board guidebook. And then we have, again, these awesome individuals like Katina White, who's going to say some words to us, telling young people, hey, it's your time. Here's how you do it. Let's get engaged. You know, it's not difficult, but again, we got your back.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that your contributors were some heavy hitters. They provided some short, powerful messages for the young people. And some of the contributors, some of your friends who participated in this book are, let's just say, they are indeed heavy hitters. You have NBA Hall of Famer. You have neonatologist, and I'm not afraid to drop some names here that
Drop it,
you have.
drop it. Yes, yes.
NBA Hall of Famers, Sydney Moncrief. You have the mother of supermodel Chanel Imam, Miss China Robinson. You also have Delpheo Marsalis. I mean, and the list goes on and on. Why, including our friend who's with us today, our special guest, Miss Katina White. So you have such a breadth and depth of both the heavy hitters as well as a breadth and depth of occupation. It ranges from one end of the scale to the other. Why is it so important for you to have those heavy hitters, number one, and then number two, such a range of occupations and professions in the guidebook?
You know, if if you want young people to, particularly our children, children of color, black children, children who are from impoverished areas, to understand what it's like to be a winner, to be number one, you know, to be a Grammy Award winning artist, to be a Pulitzer Prize winning poet, you know, to be a robotics designer. Here's the things you have to do. And too often times they don't get that direct message from us on a consistent basis. Our children deserve that every day. It is too many people in the city. Let's talk about Little Rock. You know, that's where we are from. We got some profound innovators in Little Rock.
Yes.
I mean, we talk about major innovators that they rarely hear about. Just go to the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame. That should be a part of the curriculum when we look with the Little Rock School District. We talk about Black history. Just take the people from Arkansas Black Hall of Fame and create a curriculum on that and give it to the school district and say, we want this part of the curriculum. So Black children can learn from those that look like them.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame, because we do. You're absolutely right. We have so much wealth of talent right here in our backyard, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. And one of those talents is the special guest that we have, contributor to the book, Miss Katina White, who is a STEM educator with the Little Rock School District and also with UAMS. So thank you for joining us, Miss White. Um, Tell us a little bit about what you do in the Little Rock School District and for UAMS.
I am I teach at Forest Heights STEM Academy. I am also the robotics coach at Forest Heights STEM Academy. I've been doing in robotics and robotics competitions for approximately 8 or 9 years. Nine.
Yeah.
I've been teaching 10, been doing robotics competition for 9 years. I also write the curriculum for the Junior STEM Academy and the Senior STEM Academy at UAMS. So I do during my so-called downtime. So I am very intentional about the programming or the curriculum that I write. It is very inclusive and is intentional to be a direct connection with particularly underrepresented groups in STEM, particularly African Americans. And so I'm very, very intentional on how I put together the curriculum, the theme. It is very holistic. It integrates a lot of art, it integrates music, it integrates Blackness. And so I love that. So that's a little bit about me.
And so I'm glad that you mentioned that robotics. When you think of robotics, you typically do not think of a person of color, and most importantly, you don't think of a woman. And so I'm so glad that you are the face of the robotics team. Thank you for what you do and represent.
Yes.
Um, in your part of the guidebook, you mentioned using one's imagination. And so I want you to talk a little bit about that because young people and imagination, I think sometimes is kind of like an oxymoron, but it doesn't have to be. So talk a little bit about how you use your tools and your tool belt to encourage imagination with our young people.
Most of the time, what I use is I always go back to I showed them a clip of the Jetsons, right? So you remember the Jetsons, like we watched the Jetsons, we're like, unbelievable. Can that even be possible? And a lot of the technology that they even discussed that we witnessed and saw on the Jetsons, they exist now. And so as a STEM educator, I really bring it to my students' attention to say that one, when you came into the world, you were a natural scientist.
Mm.
We came into the world naturally observing, observing how things work in our world, and then to bring the connection because we sometimes as African Americans, what I'm finding with my kids is they feel disconnected from science. It doesn't look like them. Robotics doesn't look like them. It doesn't. And my thing is, we've always told them they had to choose. Either you like rap or this. Either you're a basketball player or this. And either you speak like this or that. Or you dress like this or. And I tell them you don't have to choose. Be both. And so by me being in the classroom, I can tell them that I write poetry too. I love hip hop too. But I understand also I can write if conditional statements and I can write a good algorithm when I'm programming my robot. And so I also discuss with them about looking within their community of what things that they want to solve, issues or things, and robotics has a way of doing that. And so then I even bring around social issues. So the other week I discussed about coded bias. And they were like, what? And you know that there are, because we don't have a lot of representatives, are a lot of African Americans doing coding, there are biases in the programs in the software when we discuss artificial intelligence. And so there's a need for us to be in that world because you can help prevent somebody from being targeted. You can help. We have, even in my STEM, in my 7th grade class, they're creating apps on location of police brutality.
Wow.
And they're creating apps.
Yeah.
So can put in the app like I was a victim of police brutality in this particular area. So they can see targets. But like we have to create that connection. So I create the connection of community, looking at your imagination. If nothing else, if you didn't have any obstacles in your way, what would you want to create?
Right. Yeah.
and how could we make it possible?
Oh
So
my, I have goosebumps just thinking about it. You know, working with the seventh graders, you said, and getting them involved in artificial intelligence and coding. I mean, when I was in seventh grade, I'm trying to think, did we have? Yeah, I think we did. Some of the computers are just coming on the market. But but just to know now that you can inspire the kids to code and use artificial intelligence and robotics and things like that, and technology for social justice issues,
Yes.
issues that impact them directly in their communities. And so I think sometimes we don't connect those two. And so to see that you're doing that at such a young age with the kids, and that's a potential career path for them,
it
because
is.
Mr. Oliver said not everybody's going to be a football player. Not everybody's going to be a basketball player. And like he said, Sidney Moncrief had a plan A, B, C, and D.
So even with UAMS, our theme this year is Black is everything. So we're going into everything Black within science. We're talking about obsidian rocks. We're discussing Black stars. We're discussing, then we're incorporating using quilts. We have Black lights. We have like everything in the beauty in Black. So that not only do they identify with it, but now we put some science in it because Black is everything. And so I'm very intentional about them seeing, identifying within STEM, identifying with automation and robotics, and then identifying it within their community.
I love that. I love that. And to tie it back into the vision book for young
Right.
people, the fact that Patrick, you asked all of your contributors not only to contribute the 250 words or more, but then there's also a section of prompting questions that have them to kind of think through about what they just read, what they just learned, so that they can really start that thought process about, you know, if I want to be, you know, go into the STEM education or a STEM career, this is what I have to do. What types of questions do I need to be asking myself, and what type of questions do I need to answer? And then a section about, I think there's just a section for notes or for pictures or things like that. So really going full circle with the entire process. Where could one purchase the book? Where do parents go, or educators or community groups go to actually get the book?
So the official release date is April 29th. So April 29th, they can go online and get copies of it. Going to have, for folks in Little Rock, I'm going to have copies of Pyramid, Fine Art, and books. It'll be there. So, and I stay away from Amazon. My friends say, why? Jeff Bezos don't need any money. You know, so, and I'd rather people buy it directly from me or a Black bookstore. So if they come and buy it from me, they'll see the other activities I have going on. You know, so they will know that, hey, every third Saturday of the month, we have the Anansi Journal Live activity every third Saturday, 11 a.m. for boys to attend and hear from Black men who are, promoting journaling, writing, literacy, uh, Black superheroes, all sorts of things we've been doing with the Anansi Journal Live. So I want them to come to my site or to go to Garbo's bookstore so they can see some of the books that we have referenced in the recommended reading section. So they can go to Garbo, so they can have their book in their hands. Hey, Garbo, do you have this book? Do you have that book? Or they can take the book to the library and say, hey, library, do you have this? But the book will be in libraries as well. You know, so that's how they'll be get access to it. And my first book signing event will be in Little Rock. We're planning it. It'll be the second week in May, after school event. It's going to be outdoors, you know, and social distance, you know, and it's just going to be a fun time. We're planning to have that Little Rock Central High School uh, uh, National Park Service site outdoors in their little pavilion area. So we're going to have it there, and I'm going to call it a vision party. You know, whoever comes there, we're going to talk about the vision book for a very short period of time. But we're going to go through the audience and ask young people and their parents, what is your vision for the future? What is your, you're here at this event. What is your vision? We know what our vision is. What is your vision, young people? And so, and that's what the vision board guidebook is for. You know, we want to challenge and push young people. That should be, I don't know what I want to do at, you know, a kid is 15 and 16, or even 12. You know, we should be infusing something into them. You know, our black boys should not be 100 black boys show up to an event and 90 of them are going to the NBA or the NFL. Not one say anything about robotics, being a judge, being a lawyer, uh, being a person who promotes community gardening, that sort of thing, CPA, all that sort of thing. So uh, back to your point, www.speaklouder.com. They can get the book there, or they can, you know, Little Rock, Arkansas, you most certainly can go to Pyramid Bookstore. I'm going to have some at Wandsworth Bookstore as well.
And Mr. Oliver, Miss White, thank you both for your time, telling us about the Vision Board Guidebook, being contributors to the Vision Board Guidebook, and keep doing what you're doing. We need you, and we applaud your efforts. And so, thank you for spending some time with today's Communiqué, just to let us know about the Vision Board book and everything else that's going on. So, with that, that's going to be a wrap.
And back at you, Communiqué. Keep doing the work you're doing. We love you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.